Hello my friends and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. I very much dislike when my assessments prove to be right or my predictions come true. Why? Because my predictions usually are negative. Why? Because I predict something that our people will do that will negatively affect us and the world. I know CNN and MSNBC and Fox News are providing a bright side of how great we are. Always there's a balance. So what happens here? I have about 6 topics. One of them, I think the most important one, is something that I've been saying for some time, which is NATO wants to get involved in a direct war with Russia. They decided this a while ago if the Russians are not losing. I explained in many of my videos how this will be implemented. They will try to find a reason to react. And they found now the maybe manufactured reason, which is the Korean troops allegedly, reportedly by the US intelligence, South Koreans and the Ukrainians intelligence services, that the North Koreans will get involved. The troops are trained in Russia and get involved in the war in Ukraine. Therefore, we have to react, and NATO will react actively. I have here evidence today the US is considering striking Russia or getting inside Ukraine and fighting directly. No surprise here, it's just that it's bad. And I suspect in about 3 weeks, we're going to get to direct nuclear threats. All right, but the first topic is there are some drone attacks on Ukraine, especially on Kiev. We're going to discuss that. The other one is Poland and France will send MiG-29s and Mirage fighter jets. When and why? Another one is the US Congress considering sending direct military action against Russians in Ukraine. There is direct involvement. I've been saying this for some time and nothing surprising here. I've been waiting. Why? To bring you the evidence. I've been saying this for at least 2 years. But all right, then we have people who are just all of a sudden get very concerned with Korean troops. Possibly, there's no evidence. It's just that, they think that those Koreans that are training in Russia, in Far East Russia, in Siberia area, they will be sent on the Ukrainian front. You don't know the intent, but nevertheless, they tell us there is so. So obviously we have Poland, who's pushed, I think, by its master, which is the United States of America, to act. Remember, Poland, Romania, and probably the Baltic states will get engaged in a direct confrontation with Russia at the orders of NATO, which is the United States of America, which is going to fight from far behind with you. You are going to fight not your war, not the American war, but the big financial, industrial interests war. All right, we're going to discuss that one. So Poland and South Korea are condemning that, something that is not proven yet, but they're condemning it. Why? Because they wanted to get involved for some time. What's going on? All right, we find out that at least 7 countries oppose Ukraine's accession to NATO. The Americans will come and blackmail them, threaten them, and they will all go back to where they came from. Their mommy's V's, I guarantee you that. Or it's just a game. We find out that Russia's State Duma, the Congress, not the Congress, the House, I would be over there, the Parliament, but the lower house, ratified the treaty between North Korea and Russia. And whose fault is that? Why did that happen? I tell you why. Because the Russians told these baboons here, stop, we can hurt you too. And these guys were, no, you can't. No, you can't. You're too weak. And then the Russians, after saw that these guys want to pull a Gaddafi on Putin, took their gloves off. And said, okay, we're going to activate our connections around the world, and then you'll see what's happening. And I think we, not only the Americans, the Europeans are in deep doo-doo before we are, because they're going to be attacked. Not the United States of America. Everything will happen in Europe first. And then once it escalates towards the United States of America will make peace with Russia. But in the meantime, we destroyed Europe again. All right, I don't want to be so, alarmist or anything like that. But you see the pattern, you see the direction. It's like you throw the ball and the ball is going to go on this trajectory. And it's kind of like 95% is going to go that way. Or that's the way it is. And that's the way I say it. And I'm going to bring evidence. Their evidence. All right, let's start with the first article. Here it is. This is from Ukrinform. Air defense systems destroy about dozens Russian drones around Kiev. And the main one is, again, the Ukrinform, Ukraine downs 40 Russian drones overnight. Ukrainian defense forces shot down 40 Russian drones as of 8:30 on Thursday, today, October 24th. This is the evidence. Can you count them? They're all dead, destroyed. All right, it says here that the Russians attacked Ukraine with two Kh-22 cruise missiles launched by Tu-22M3 over the Black Sea, two Kh-59 guided air missiles launched from the airspace of Bryansk region, and 50 Shahed one-way attack drones and drones from unknown, these guys are always doing like this to me, unknown type, launched from Orel, Kursk, and temporarily occupied Crimea. So, and it says that they attacked Odessa, Mykolaiv, Dnipropetrovsk, Vinnytsia, Zhytomyr, Khmelnytsky, Cherkasy, Kirovohrad, Kiev, Poltava, and Chernihiv regions. They didn't go further towards the Polish side of Ukraine. That's the way I call that side where you have Lviv, because the Poles will get it. I guarantee you, I will say this each and every time I mention them. So they stopped here. They didn't attack this right here. They attacked Khmelnytsky, right here, Zhytomyr, Vinnytsia, Kiev, Cherkasy, Odessa, Mykolaiv here, Dnipropetrovsk, and all this area. So they didn't go in the Polish side right here. I don't know what happened. Maybe NATO said, well, we're going to intervene. I have no evidence to support that. Let's see what happened in Kiev. About a dozen Russian drones were detected and neutralized in the airspace of around Kiev. And tomorrow, or within the 48 hours, we're going to find out that these guys don't have electricity. But hey, we destroyed all of them in the air, and the debris fell straight on the distribution centers somehow. So the place where the drones were launched were Kursk region, and the drones entered the capital mainly from north and northeast. Kursk, Vobisdu, right here. Kursk is from here, going that way towards Kiev, this area. The air alert in the capital was announced 3 times during the night, at least almost 6 hours in total. Air defense forces and equipment detected about a dozen Russian drones in the airspace of Kiev. All the enemy UAVs and threatened the capital were neutralized. Got that? All right. Now, if I would be I would like to prove this, tomorrow or maybe the next day, I will read to you some articles coming from the same source, the same Ukrainians, telling you that about 400,000 customers are left without power in Kiev region. And that for me tells me that those little drones that were all of them neutralized, the debris that fell hit the right target, which is kind of like, but hey, if you want to believe that, you want to believe that. All right, let's go to the Polish side of Ukraine. Ukraińska Prawda. Poland reveals timeline for transferring MiG-29 aircraft to Ukraine. So what's going on over there? The Poles gave their Soviet-era, Russian-era MiGs and gave it to Ukraine. They got money for that. They didn't give it for free. The European Union and NATO will do things for them financially. It's not like I give you and I'm done. And then the guys in charge will sell them their products. So they made the Poles give them those weapons, and then they made the Poles buy from me, not from those. And these are the arms manufacturing companies from the United States of America. There would be some F-35s, F-15s, there would be F-16s. They will provide it to Poland counter cost. So they will buy it. So it's just a transfer of how do you call that, of wealth or the business. Because we love capitalism when we win. When those guys compete with us and sometimes are better than we are, what do? We get them out of the race. We just ban them through sanctions. Therefore, we win. So Lockheed Martin, Boeing, or Raytheon won. The MiG Mykolaiv, Makan, they lost. Why? Direct, straight competition, fair competition. That could happen to anybody. The same with the Russian gas in Europe. The same thing. They couldn't compete, they destroyed it. And now we help you with liquefied natural gas, 3 to 4 times premium price. Good job. Who's losing? Europe. And a little bit Russia. But Russia has, the world is the big market. So Piotr Lukashevich, the temporary charge d'affaires of Poland in Ukraine, has stated that the country will transfer the remaining MiG-29 fighter jets to Ukraine once it fills the gaps. You know what that is? Yeah, I'm going to show you. Created by the transfer of these aircraft to Kiev. So, Lukashevich said Warsaw is preparing various aid packages for Ukraine. He emphasized that over the past 2 years, Poland has provided spare parts and MiG-29 aircraft. And I'm quoting, "We were actually the first to call on our allies to provide you with something heavier than javelins, tanks, MiG-29s, and our older aircraft. The current question is how to ensure the filling the gaps." That's a military term. Oh shit, you lost me. The diplomat noted that Poland still has about 10 to 15 such aircraft, which are still in use as part of its air defense systems. And here is what you need to know. He added that Warsaw is currently undergoing a significant transformation of its air force by purchasing new equipment from its partner. Hey, howdy partner, howdy. Specifically, F-16 and F-35 aircraft. At the same time, he pointed out that this process is ongoing, so the country cannot afford losing even this small number of MiG-29s, as we would feel unprotected. Do you think that those 15 MiGs would protect Poland from, let's say, an atomic bomb? No, so shut the fuck up. Anyway, but they need to give the illusion that we're protected by those 15 MiGs or by F-16s. All right, let's go. And so now you know that these guys consider giving them, and they will give them. And let me give you another article here. I'm trying to pull out right here. Here it is. Poland says it can transfer MiG-29s to Ukraine after receiving Western fighters from allies. Now, my friends, my American friends, it's not that we are benefiting, we the American people. We're losing in the end because they will tax us more and then they will print more money. That's bad for all of us. It's good for some private companies that make a kill in the name of defending you, supposedly. That's how the racket goes. So when you hear here, well, we're going to receive this because we need to give that because the poor Ukrainians are attacked by evil Russians, because the Russians attacked, how do you call it, unprovoked. That's a baboonish argument. That's more to that. That probably will change the whole perspective on what's going on and how it started. But it's not only that the Poles are doing that, the French are doing that as well. Ukrinform, I said this before, but here they tell us the time when Ukraine will receive the Mirage jets from France. Ukraine to receive first 3 Mirage jets in early 2025. Remember, these airplanes are not the top notch. None of them. They're old jets. Ukraine will receive the first 3 Mirage 2000-5 fighter jets from France in its first quarter of 2027. In addition to Mika air-to-air missiles, these 3 Mirage 2000-5 jets will be equipped at Ukraine's request with AASS bombs, Safran for airstrikes, and Scalp cruise missiles. Scalp are the Storm Shadow British. They did in cooperation. So good, great. You do that. I think these guys are just trying to test their weapons against the Russians and adjust to see how the Russians will fuck them up. You know, you just send some, hey, why don't you go over there and check that little bush over there? And you stand and wait. And when that goes over there, you figure out who's shooting and then boom, you shoot over there. That's what they're trying to do. To see how those Mirage will be blown up. So they know how, they will analyze how, and they will have all kind of PowerPoint presentations and education, what Russians used, so they can adapt. That's the whole goal. Do you think that those 3 Mirages will do shit? There's 3 strikes, if they fly. If they fly. All right, This is the most important, I think, article, and not article, news, piece of news of this video. It's for me, it's a confirmation that the next step will be taken. It's 99.9%, I would say 100. I don't like 100, but I think this is a slam dunk right there. Ukrainska Pravda. US Congress calls for consideration of direct military action if North Korean troops enter Ukraine. First question is why? Why? Why those guys entering over there would make you enter? I know you're going to say this, and blah, 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 blah. Okay, all right. But then when allegedly the Iranians are giving missiles to Russians, again we say blah, 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 blah. But weren't they sending after we sent? So think like this. We're going to act because those guys help Russia. But let's turn the shoot the other way, or the table the other way. Maybe, North Korea and Iran reacted because we gave Ukraine weapons and everything else. So if we use the same logic, hey, they intervene over there, we have to intervene, without being an alliance. There's no alliance between NATO and Ukraine. Nothing. But it is an alliance between, now, they just ratified a treaty between North Korea and Russia. Before this, it wasn't. So then, if it works for you, why doesn't it work for them? This is the hypocrisy these guys were using for decades. And I dislike that. The first time I figured it out, I said, but these are my people. But they are lying, they are deceivers, and they are hypocrites. I don't like hypocrisy. I don't like to win by cheating. If I deserve to lose, I deserve to lose. If things are fair, and they tell us they're fair, but then they say, no, actually we can cut the line here. So we intervene because those guys intervene. But when we intervened with everything we got, tanks, airplanes, missiles, air defense systems, everything we got, javelins and howitzers and long-range missile systems and all that, with all that, we got upset if these guys sent Shahed drones or missiles. Probably Iran sent missiles, and maybe China gave made some deals. So what is this? We can do it, you can't do it. That's not fair. Now, if it's about not being fair, then why would I be behind these guys saying, you know what, we're going to send your moms, your dads, your sisters, your brothers to fight over there in Russia. And I said this for a long time. That's the whole goal. They can't win. And what's going to be here? More money for the banks, international banking system, and the Raytheons and Boeings and Lockheed Martins and the Rheinmetall and these guys. That's all. That's all. And in the meantime, we're going to make the European population again like this, small again, like we did it twice at the whim of some other forces. Okay? And here we have them again. We fuck ourselves at whose interest? Ukraine? That could have been solved a long time ago. They didn't. The prize is Russia. No, the prize is the globe, actually. But in order to take over the globe, you need to get rid of the competition. The competition is China and Russia. And once these guys go, India will be nothing. Nothing. If Russia goes away, China could stand with India. But if Russia and China goes, it's game over. Game over. Even if Russia goes, China goes. Why? China will have no more resources for its economy. So these guys will control Russia's natural resources. That's one of the main goals here. And therefore, they will strangle the Chinese development and industry. And that's it. They're going to give you this much energy, oil, coal, whatever we give you, in order for you to produce for us. You're going to produce for us. We're going to control how much you produce. And then we can tell you, no, we don't like how much this cost. Why? You don't want that? Keep. And then we go to other. We got to make the same thing with Malaysia. We make with any other countries that buy oil and gas from Russia. India too. So if you get the resources of Russia, you're done. Game over. Why do you think you have the BRICS getting together like they do? It's obvious. So let's see. US Congress calls for consideration of direct military action if North Korean. What does that mean, direct? War! What do you think that means? But hey, we can hit them, they cannot hit us. Republican Mike Turner, chairman of the House Intelligence Committee, believes that if North Korean troops join the Russo-Ukrainian war, the Ukraine should consider taking direct military action. Why? Are we in an alliance? No. Oh, but anyway, Turner believes that the administration of US President Joe Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris must, and I'm quoting, must make clear that North Korean troops entering the conflict are a red line for the United States of America. Well, wasn't Ukraine a red line for the United States of America or for Russia? Did you give a shit about it? No. So what are you talking about? Wasn't sending tanks or airplanes or intelligence or many other things to Ukraine? Actually, these guys are, the operation is not a Ukrainian operation. It's a NATO, it's a US operation in Ukraine. All right. But the thing is, as I said, these are so strong and courageous that they want to be able to hit someone, but not with their forces, with someone else's forces. Now, that's not courage, that's weakness, and that's weasel. But in America now, this is the trend. If you are a shirker, you avoid responsibility, and you have someone get burned, and you take responsibility, not responsibility, you get the award for something you didn't do, and someone got burned in a process, you're considered now you're smart. You're smart. You're not a weasel, like it used to be in our civilization, I don't know, a few decades ago. It switched. Avoiding responsibility, nowadays it's called smart. So same, the Americans are smart. So whoever thinks that we're smart by using the Ukrainians to destroy Russia, you're weasels. You're not smart. And you're not courageous, that's definitely. You're cowards. Go. Remember, why did they attack us? Those cowards. Remember when talking the September 11 things? Those cowards. And then they destroyed two nations in the name of their cowardice. Anyway, so let's see what's going on over here. These guys will get us in a hot war. I said this is the confirmation for me. And I'm going to tell you, I'm going to put a timeline on that before the Russians are saying they're going to use nuclear weapons. And I'm quoting, if North Korean troops were to invade Ukraine's sovereign territory, the United States need to seriously consider taking direct military actions against the North Korean troops. So, what if they are considered volunteers? What would you do? What if they say, well, those Koreans are volunteers? There's many volunteers coming from here that are not verified and not in the NATO military. And as I said many times before, show up in Poland, take their uniforms off, put the volunteer uniform on, and go with the same units and commanders cross into Ukraine and fight as volunteers. How do we know? How do you know that it's not so? I am 98% certain that occurs. I don't know, I have a gut feeling, a cock feeling, or a ball feeling, or crystal balls feelings. How do you know that? And they say that's volunteers, that Ukrainian military trained in Europe, about only 60,000 of them. And these guys lack units in the front line. What if these guys say, no, this is not Korean military, these are volunteers? Would they change the whole thing? Because you have volunteers going to Ukraine on your side, so shouldn't be using the same thing on the other side. So why would that be an escalation? This is what's going to happen. The Russians will deny that, and they will not make it public. These guys will continue telling you, the Pentagon and the intelligence services, the same ones that told you that Saddam Hussein has weapons of mass destruction. The same guys who told you that in the Gulf of Tonkin, the US Navy, was attacked by the Vietnamese, and that was a lie. So you trust this? I don't trust them whatsoever. I need evidence from at least 3 independent, separate sources. So they're going to tell you that no, that's true, they're already fighting, we have to send you over there to fight for those guys in charge of us, and we tell you. That's the way it goes, and you're going to have the mass media making it for you. All right, and what the Russians will do? Probably when these guys are going to send their military, they will say, well, we're going to hit them, and eventually the Russians will say, all right, we use, that means we are attacked. Remember, they changed the doctrine, the nuke doctrine, the Russians. They said, once these guys shoot inside of Russia deep, we can, that means NATO is involved. Once NATO is directly involved, we can use the nukes. Now these guys are calling out, we're going to get involved. So what the Russians will do? We're going to use the nukes. So I think all this will be an apex. We're going to reach an apex in about 3 weeks. This is the maximum I give it, when the Russians will come out and say, if these guys, as I see it, will push sending troops, the Russians will tell them we're going to nuke. And what do you think will be the next word or next statement of this Turner diary? Huh? What do you think? Are they going to say, yeah, we're going to nuke it too? Okay, you can figure things out. All right, so 3 weeks, within 3 weeks, we're going to get the Russians threatening or saying straight, we're going to do this. This is our response. The Hill. Key Republican. US should consider direct military action if North Korean troops enter Ukraine. But the Russians did not consider direct strikes on London when London sent this baboon Prime Minister Boris, whatever his name is, Johnson, to Kiev and screwed up the, the negotiations in March 2022. No. And this baboon too. Ukrainska Pravda. Leaders of Poland and South Korea condemn DPRK sending troops to help Russia. Yeah, you condemn that. Why? You just said you're going to send those guys MiGs. What the fuck are you talking about? So the Russia should destroy Warsaw and Poland just because? You sent MiGs. You just brag you did it. You gave them money. You did all that. And now you say, well, no. Where is that? And now, what do you think you're going to do? Hey, my Polish friends, you are going to fight a war not for you and for your country. You're going to fight for some low economic financial interest. That's what you're going to do. They're going to send you to war, and the Russians will have no patience with you, Poland. They will have no patience with you. I guarantee you that. President of Poland, Andrzej Duda, and his South Korean counterpart. Now, these guys, what the fuck you want? What's your problem, South Korea? I mean, you are under U.S. occupation. You do drills over there with all these vassal states, European vassal states, next to North Korea. You go around all the time with these nuclear submarines of the Americans, and these guys send troops in. You impose sanctions on Russia without Russia doing anything to you. And now you have another country doing something else, and you say, oh my God, these are our neighbors. What are you talking about? And you tell me that these are equal? No, they are buttons. They are buttons that are pushed and they know what they're doing. Do you think they're not? It's too... Sometimes it seems it's a organized cooperation after reading a script. It's like a script. And I think I'm 98% that's the way exactly it is. And I think the Americans are the ones with a script and they call these guys. Now you do this. Now you do this. Now you make sure you do this. I think that's the way. I'm 98 to 99% certain it goes like that. I don't think the Poland president just jumped out today and the South Korean today condemning that. And I don't think that guy in Mr. Turner just showed up and said, oh, we should consider that. And the Ukrainians with Zelensky the other day. It's why didn't they wake up the same day, all of them? Because you see a rape over there. Do you wait 3 days to say, hey, excuse me, I'm against that? Or you wait 2 days, or you wait 5 days, or you say it the way you see it. Why do you wait for that guy first, and then those 2 guys, and then these 3 guys, and after 3 weeks, we all said it. Why do you need 3 weeks to call it a rape? So right now, I'm going to hear probably Romania and other baboons calling it, oh my God, we condemn that. Why did you wait, buddy? Because they want to extend and make news for the baboons. Look how many. Look, it's increasing the pressure. Yes, the world community. What's the world community? 194 countries or not 193 countries? No. It's just the United States of America. That's the world community. And then the countries they pick as being when they parrot the narrative. These are the world community. They didn't ask Zimbabwe about this one. I mean, if Korea condemns, why didn't ask Zimbabwe to condemn? It's the same shit. They just share a border and are at war. So yeah, let them go over there. Maybe they die. So then when we fight them, we're going to have less to kill. No? So South Korea should say, no, send them all there. So in a month, the mighty NATO will destroy all the North Koreans. So therefore we just, hey, Mr. Woodchuck, we are here to take you into custody. Why not? Oh, they think they're going to get trained, they get experience there, so they're not going to die? None of your business, South Korea. Now let's see this thing, with at least 7 countries that oppose Ukraine's accession to NATO. These countries want money. They want something that they don't have. All these countries, I will name them, I think they want, these are a bargaining chip for something else. Germany and the United States are not the only countries blocking invitation to join NATO. These guys are just pretending. If the United States tomorrow says it is not blocking, everybody else will change their mind. Why? They will be threatened. And they know before the threats, they will change their mind. So invitation to join NATO. Hungary, this is one that even the United States of America, if it changes his mind now, Hungary will have a problem for some time. Slovakia, the same, these guys. Now, Belgium, Slovenia, and Spain, I don't think so. This will be taken a shit on them immediately, especially Belgium and Slovenia. These are conquered, and Spain too. under occupation. Slovakia and Hungary, they need more funding, balls funding. According to political President Volodymyr Zelensky, victory plan is facing challenges as it hinges on Ukraine receiving an invitation to join NATO. Are you crazy? Again, what they tell you, if let's say tomorrow this guy says, yes, Ukraine joins NATO in 3 hours, what do you think the Russians will do? Didn't the Russians say that was one of the reasons? I know they attacked Ukraine unprovoked, but do you remember that it was one reason why this guy said, no, we're going to enter Ukraine? Because of NATO. Because NATO came closer to our borders. We didn't come closer to our enemies, but our friends came closer to their enemies. So, what do you think this guy's going to do? First, it's going to be a propaganda confirmation for the Russians, where all their media will come and say, for good reason, hey, see, we told you, and the other guys will turn it the other way. No, we have to do this with NATO to get Ukraine, because these guys, that's the only way is going to stop the Russian imperialism. This is how the narrative is portrayed for the baboons. That's why we have to protect, because the Russian imperialism, can you see they attacked Ukraine unprovoked? They're evil. Not that they came over there to protect their, interests and their nationals. No, the Russians, they were killed by Kiev. No, it's not that. No. Not because those guys violated the Minsk agreement, that's international law, in 2014. Not that the guarantors, the French and the Germans, didn't care, and they were waiting for these guys, the Americans, to arm the Ukrainians for that. Not that Zelensky ran on a platform of having peace with Russia, and then once he got elected, he said, fuck it, I don't like anything about the Minsk agreement 2015. That means international law. I take a shit on that. No, and then he started bombing again the Russian population in Donbass. No, that you're supposed to forget about those things. But they are over there, you can find them. You just take a phone, click a few times, and you're going to find all this information. So the same thing here with Russia today. 7 NATO members oppose Ukraine membership. Once the United States of America gives the order, all these countries, some of them will be harder to squeeze, but they will come around. All right, and last topic, Russia's State Duma ratifies Russia-North Korea Comprehensive Strategic Partnership Treaty. That is, I think this one is the same thing, Russian Parliament ratifies treaty with North Korea. That means these guys are kind of like allies, clear allies. It's nothing that is illegal doing that. Nothing like that. You can say, well, NATO being in Ukraine is not illegal. Well, if you remember Ukraine in 1994 in Budapest, they signed a memorandum where they said that they will be neutral. Who broke the neutrality? Well, I'll tell you who broke it. It's very easy to find out. The Americans. Sorry to say it, but if you don't know, again, 2 clicks will prove that right. In 2008, neutrality was not with Russia, not with NATO. But in 2008, in Bucharest summit, where Putin was over there as an observer, what did Mr. then the Tard, what's his name, W. Bush, then the president of the US, one day, Georgia and Ukraine will be part of NATO. And Putin said, say what? No, who broke it? And then you have the 2008, the Georgians were activated. That was the first Ukraine war that failed because NATO was afraid to intervene there. Why? Because they didn't have the resources to get over there. They couldn't bring weapons over there in the Caucasus. But here in Ukraine, they have the guys all in the western Ukraine. They are open, and the south with the Romanians. They can bring how much they want, so it's easier to fight. And that was it. And then the big thing was in 2014 when those guys organized a coup, bloody coup of a president who was democratically elected, a democracy of Ukraine, as it worked, corrupt as many others, or all of them, all right? And they overthrew that, and they immediately recognized that, and they started imposing all kind of sanctions on the Russian-speaking population in Russia, who didn't recognize the new criminals, traitors. Because if you overthrow a government, legitimate government, democratically elected, you are a traitor, especially if you do that with outside influence and support. All right, so you're going to go to war. And you're going to be fucked up. And when it's going to hurt these guys a little bit, the banking system here, a little bit, then they will stop the war. All of a sudden, this guy's going to have a epiphany, enlightenment. We got to Satori, like in Buddhism, Satori, enlightenment. Got it. Stop the war. That was wrong. Let's talk. Why don't we talk to the Russians? What's wrong? You'll see. And that will happen when the Russians will say, we're ready to fucking hit the button. And probably they will hit it once or twice. And who's going to be losing? Not London, not the ones that are actually in charge of this, or at least are the... Anyway, it's going to be probably their brothers and sisters, the Ukrainians, unfortunately. I hope not, but these guys, it seems like they're pushing it. As I said, 98 to 99%, I'm certain these guys are going to get you in a hot war. Now they have the argument, and the mass media, their operatives, they will make day and night, they will tell you that's the right thing, the right cause. But they will not tell you the other side, or the other sides of the coin, because we have two coins, two sides, 5 sides, 9 sides, whatever. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.